Day 97, Screenwriter's Journey. I'm doing a brief intro. Yesterday, we left right when we got to the go-kart scene at that championship racing. And so she had said that she didn't really feel like she learned much from that scene, considering it was like 4 pages. And I didn't really push back, but it did maybe stop and think, what am I trying to accomplish, if anything, on that scene? And when you really think about that, it starts to kind of get to you. And now we can see what I'm thinking. So let's go through my thought process. Unfortunately, or maybe fortunately, it's at 500%, so 5 times sped up. So obviously, well, not obviously, I'm leaving the recording running, but it's going 5 times as fast. So you can imagine how long it took me sort of to think through this. And so after, I don't know how to describe this, after you've written something and you think it's good, and then someone doesn't say necessarily it's bad, but says, hey, I think you can make it better, or do you really want to spend 4 pages on something that isn't really advancing the story as much as maybe you think it is? So I'm thinking, what is this scene about really? It's cool that they go to this racetrack and there's not really exciting, well, maybe exciting, fun stuff for the audience to watch. But on the other hand, this is in the part of the script structurally, which Blake Snyder and others probably describe as like the debate or something like that, where it's not in fun and games where there's a car chase or there's typically something going on. So you really have to have something happen here this early on in the script. Excuse me. And so that's what I kind of realized after her critique, that what am I really trying to say here? How can it advance the story, or more likely, how can it reveal character? And what she suggested is we have to learn something about Holly or Lexi that is just like, oh, okay, now that makes sense. So I think what I thought is Jake is obviously pressing Lexi on, what's, like he says, okay, while the mystery, Lexi doesn't want to talk about it, and Jake is pressing her. And so then I said, well, maybe Holly butts into the conversation and they talk. So some of this, obviously, I'm just experimenting, because I guess if you see my modus operandi is not to like do it in an outline or elsewhere. I just open the script and then I start working through it. I'd thought about it somewhat on the time I wasn't writing, when I was doing my job or whatever. But most of this thought took place live while I had the script open. And so the whole time I'm writing here, I'm just thinking, as she said, what can we learn about these characters? And even going back to that part, which I think I may revisit, about the helicopter flying over. So I'm just literally trying stuff out. That answer to how did you not get pulled over? And I'm wondering, would Holly really say what she said with this face? And then she kind of points to her face. Don't know if I love that or not. I obviously liked it at the time. Lexi, redeem yourself, as in you lost getting up here. All right, so then the idea came to me, what if instead of Lexi and the Jake having a conversation, what if Lexi started walking off and then Jake wants to talk to Holly to try to figure out kind of what's going on? Maybe, because we don't know for sure how well Jake knows Holly. There's that reference early on that, hey, is Lexi the only one in that house you're interested in? But we don't really know how long Jake has been dating Lexi and how well he knows Holly. So I'm just trying something to see if it works here. So you can see where the direction that I'm taking this. Jake accusing her of trying to ruin their weekend by chaperoning them or coming up with them. And again, think about it. Lexi has just turned 18. Jake and Luke are like 20. And Abby is somewhere in between 19 or whatever. So technically, I mean, would parents, not that the kids would legally have to get their consent, but would parents be okay with them going, which is why, as I mentioned before, Holly, it's implied in her discussion that she has checked with the parents and said, hey, I'm going to go with the kids, and that made them be okay. So again, I can't really describe it. I'm just thinking of what do I really want to say in this scene? And that's obviously a question that we all have to ask ourselves in every single scene we write. What is being revealed? So Jake's line there is implying, at least to me, that he thought that Holly was sort of, easygoing and carefree and very nice and relaxed in terms of her relationship with Lexi, and that she would trust her and all that stuff. And obviously Jake doesn't know what's going on at this point. Oh, yeah. I hope I get rid of that line. But, I mean, I'm not going to apologize for writing it, because until you write something bad, you don't know that it's bad. So then this is really when it came to me that the purpose possibly of this part of the scene is that Holly knows that she's going to leave, and she is wondering, can Jake really look after her? Can he take care of her? And Jake sort of flippantly answers, obviously, and then Holly presses him, and this makes Jake take a moment and kind of really, that sort of kicks in to him. Why would she ask that? And then, you're going somewhere. And then when she says, what if I did? To me, this, I'm not going to pat myself on the back because I may change this all, but this, to me, gosh, I don't know. I like this. It puts Jake, we kind of see Holly in a new light, that she really does feel like she's her caretaker, and she's worried about what might happen to her, not just short term, but long term, which is why she makes that comment to Jake. And this is reading probably way too much into it, but Jake has no idea what's going on. And so he is just assuming by long term, she means, get married, have kids, whatever. Which she may, but I don't know how to describe it. Yeah. And so we kind of know how much Lexi thinks about Jake, or how she feels about him, from what her conversation was to Abby. And this implies, Holly's line at the bottom of 19 implies that she sort of has an idea too. And then, like I say, Jake hesitates, and he's wondering, how much does she think of me? How much does she like me? Instead of giving Holly the answer. So as you see there, my pattern of asking questions, we have long-term question mark, you going something question mark, what if I did question mark, do you think as much or as much as me, how much is that? So we've got like six questions in a row. I must have changed some dialogue there, because now this is all happening at the bottom of 19. And I did realize, of course, this extends the scene, but oh no, never mind. It does extend the scene, so I probably have to do some trimming later, but that's the last thing I was thinking about. Not really. Oh, yes, it was. So, excuse me again. So anyways, Holly, do you think as much of her as she does of you? How much is that? And Holly's wrong answer means you're being selfish. You should say that, yeah, you care a lot about her because you should know how much she cares about you. So that keep trying, I don't know if that's any good or not. But so again, if you have any comments and you'd like to leave them, because no one's been leaving them so far, but that's fine. I think that to me, and I'm going to let this lady know and maybe send her this scene to see if, see what she thinks about it. But obviously the writer is biased, but I think that does make it better. And if it did make it better, all thanks go to her. So then I'm just trying to, tidy up some things and cut down the scene a little so it's not long. You're just not realizing that. I'm just reading along here. Because again, I wanted to sort of tie up that conversation, not leave Lexi completely out of it. But it's really more, I don't know, for better or worse. Because Jake sort of has that, a minor character arc. Lexi, gosh, I don't know that she does. Don't tell anyone. Holly hopefully has the biggest one. And I don't know if it's a character arc or it's just more self-realization, which I guess is a character arc. Oh, yeah. So here's the payoff here. Lexi knows that Jake's hiding something from him. And so she goes, okay, I win. You tell me the truth. And double meaning, like that's going to happen. Ooh, what's he referring to? Her winning or him telling her the truth? What do you think about that line? Not that I'm... It's always dangerous to say, yeah, that's a great line. And then 2 days later you read it and you go, oh, gosh, that really stinks. So I'm just playing around with kind of the capper to this line. And I'm keeping in mind what this person said about having the words as descriptive as possible. So, the cart burns rubber, the revving engine, I don't know. And obviously Holly says all good and Lexi doesn't answer. So here's the stuff I was able to take out because I was up to like 108 or 109 pages, I think. So yeah, to me, that was a big deal. That was a big change, a big fix maybe. And the rest of this scene didn't really do anything. And then, so the payoff to this scene is, I think, boom, he's changed it a little, but it is the same. It didn't change how Lexi reacts, and obviously kind of Luke's likewise thing, which I think would get a good laugh. It did when my sons were reading through it out loud. And Jake has set himself up based on what Holly has told him, and maybe to assuage, what's that? To do something about Lexi's possible worries that whatever's going on, I'm here from you. And so that sort of maybe bolsters the audience's opinion of him. And it doesn't foreshadow what's to come. Maybe it does, but when what's to come happens, people are going to, what's going on? So hopefully that's all for the good. And day 97 in the can. Thanks again to my peer reviewer, number 1. And more of that is coming up in our next episode.